So we are live. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Syed Muazzam Ali, and I'm working as head of marketing and admissions at the International School of Choueifat, Lahore. And today I'm the host for the program. And the program this is very important. And the topic says that how we will deal with depression and anxiety. And we have a very special guest with us, Dr. Ambreen Iqbal. And before starting the program, I would like to introduce her formally. Dr. Ambreen Iqbal is a psychologist. She is a psychotherapist. She is a public speaker. She is a counselor with over 15 years of experience in this particular field. We welcome Dr. Ambreen Iqbal. So the format of this program would be that I'll hand over the show to Dr. Ambreen Iqbal, and she will talk about on the topic how to deal with anxiety, how to deal with depression. So if you guys have any question, they will be answered in the end if we are left with time, we may answer it after the program as well. So after this, I'll hand this over to Dr. Ambreen Iqbal, and over to you, Dr. Ambreen Iqbal.
Good afternoon to all of you. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Rabbi Zidni Ilma. And first of all, I would like to thank you to the whole management team and particularly Ms. Margot for taking an initiative to introduce the concept of the psychological issues at educational level, because everybody knows that still in developing countries and in third world countries, the people, they are not still very much ready to accept and to respect, their psychological issues. And we remain in denial since ages and ages, or maybe for the rest of our lives. And we become habitual of spending our lives with the psychological issues, and we don't talk about it openly. And this is, I guess, it's just like the first drop of water. When it rains, somebody has to take an initiative. So I really appreciate, first of all, the Choueifat school management team, and secondly, to talk on this particular area. And since I've been talking a lot on psychosocial issues in my TV talk shows and in my workshops and seminars, and I've conducted few seminars for the Choueifat school as well. And since I'm academician too, I spent almost 12 years teaching to the uni students, and I know that what are the problems which the faculty or the parents or the students they face during their educational career. So today I will be focusing my talk, my discussion around the psychological issues, mainly the anxiety and the depression, which is the main theme of today's talk, and particularly for the students and for the parents. Parents could be working, parents could be non-working, parents could be housewives, parents could be the teachers, or parents could be from any field. So the factors which I will be talking about, or I will be highlighting, that will revolve around the parenting styles, as well as a little bit about parenting styles, and a little bit, very much needed, yes, and a little bit for the students as well. And I will talk about the coping strategies as well. Well, I guess I'll try to make the discussion on a lighter note, and I'll definitely take your questions at the end of the session too. Well, there are a few things which I would like to share with you, being the mental health professional, that everybody, I guess, knows the COVID-19 situation in the last 6 to 7 months, the unpredictable situation, the uncertain situation, the fears we had and still we are having, that what's going to have in future, the consequences, the overall global financial crisis, and a lot of people, they obviously they lost their jobs as well. So the whole pattern of living style has been changed due to this COVID situation. And there is a shift of paradigm overall in our thinking pattern, in our behaviors, in our actions, in our adaptation, and in our adjustment. First of all, a big round of applause for all of you and for all of of us because we have been these survivors. The best thing out of this COVID situation is that because there is always fight or flight mode, we fought with that. And if we survived, if we are sitting right now on the screens and you're listening to me, and if I'm like listening to you guys, so that's touch wood that we have been the survivors. We are the fighters who fought with this difficult situation. And at the same time, the other positive benefit of this COVID situation across the whole globe, because that really satisfies us that we are not the only ones who suffered, or we are not the only ones who encountered this situation. We, as a whole, as a whole world, or as a global village, but at the same time, we had been blessed enough that due to this digital media, we still stayed connected to each other. We still stayed connected to each other. That minimized the level of the anxiety and the depression to a lot of extent. So due to these IT facilitation and the credit goes to no doubt the digital media too, due to which no doubt there was physical distancing, no doubt we remain handicapped, we couldn't go out, we remain confined to our houses for a longer period of time. But still, due to the thanks to this digital media, that socially, emotionally, and psychologically we stayed connected to each other with the families, even we were living, you see, apart. With if let's say if somebody had COVID in this situation and had to be in the same room, still they could have been connected with the rest of the family members, even staying at the home. So that's the other blessing. The third and the last, just bear with me for a moment. Excuse me, excuse me, excuse me. Just bear with me for a moment. Noise. Sorry for inconvenience. The third and the last, the positive outcome. We usually talk about the negative consequences of such unpredictable incidents or the bad experiences in our life. Well, in psychology, we don't talk about the good or bad experiences. Experiences are just experiences. It's the way how we learn, or rather relearn, the new patterns of survival. So for us, there is nothing good, there is nothing bad. It's just the way you perceive the things. It's just the way you take the things, and then accordingly you handle it. So for the best, being a mental health professional, the best outcome which I could see is that the whole world finally came to know that the psychological issues, including panic feelings, panic attacks, phobias, stress, anxiety, depression, they are real. I'm laughing on that. Don't beat me for that, and don't spare me for that. That finally we confronted the situation by nature, by natural laws. This all happened naturally. And you could see the health systems of the world, even of the developed countries, they got collapsed. They got collapsed. So finally, we came to know that the human beings, they have got a certain range. We can control certain things, and we cannot control some certain things, just like the natural disasters, like the floods, like the earthquakes, just like the volcanic eruptions. So these are the natural incidents, natural disasters, or the epidemics, or this, the whole, you see, the pandemics. Even the world faced the pandemics even before. And we are blessed ones that we have got so many facilities. We face this situation in this digital media. You could well imagine that about those people. This is primarily for the students I'm telling, that you're blessed enough that you had been taking online classes by sitting at home. What about those people who don't have this digital media facility? What about like centuries ago, when there was no concept of such facilities. And so the world faced these crises even before. And obviously, maybe in our lives, we have seen for the first time this kind of unpredictable situation. But the best part is that everyone realized that psychological issues, because obviously I'm going to talk from the psychological perspective today, that the psychological issues, the mental related issues, they are real. You don't know that more than 80% of the world has gone into the stress, anxiety, and depression during this COVID. And that's the plus factor, that the people finally realized the importance of the psychological and mental health related issues. They started talking about it. And that's one of the reasons I'm sitting in front of you and talking about it. And we broke the myth. We broke these taboos now finally, that we need to talk about it. And even it is mentioned in our religion, in our holy book too, that talk about the issues openly, so that if we will remain in denial, that's like an escapism technique. And escapism, there are so many ways of escapism. We run away. That is the flight mode. That is the flight mode, that whenever you confront such stressful situation, you just run away from there. But that's not the solution of the problem, because the problem is still there. That exists there. So we always come for the problem focused coping strategies, or the fight mode, in which we have to fight with the situations. And for that, we have to be mentally prepared. The mental We have to be mentally prepared that yes, the stress is there, and we have to stay calm and composed. And then the next step is that how to deal with that. It's just not about complaining the issues all the time, or it's just not about that we don't have this thing, or we don't have. That's one of the reason, I guess, the most of the students, even they complain, oh doc, I have breakup, or I don't have video apology boyfriend or girlfriend, or I don't have my peer group, you see, has got this. So that's unhealthy comparison. Ultimately brings the stress, and then ultimately anxiety, and then the final stage is the depression, when you are unable to handle that stressful situation. So the best outcomes as a result of this COVID situation is that the whole world changed the pattern of living. I personally enjoyed this COVID situation. Let me be very honest, because the thing is, it really improved the stress threshold of the people. And how I will explain it for my audience is that it really brought you out of your comfort zone. And there's a human natural tendency that we become habitual of a certain kind of living style, and we don't feel comfortable coming out of our comfort zone. If you are being told that, you see, do this thing or don't do this thing like this, you will resist, you see. And we always resist the change, and that's one of the reasons we don't go to the mental health professionals, the psychologists and the counselors, because our forefathers, our parents, they never made it a part of our belief system that psychological issues, they do exist. It's just like that if you can't see the God or the creator, you will say that no, God forbids, that God doesn't exist. But everybody knows. Similarly, if you cannot see your energy or soul, you can't say that it doesn't exist. Similarly, the psychological issues, they are there. It's just we are living in a denial, and we do the escape from this. So we keep on bullying to ourselves, to our mental health issues, because our forefathers, I'm not blaming them, it's just they're not aware of it. And we are blessed ones that today, even when I was a student, I had no concept of counseling. I had so many issues being a student, you see, and especially the teenager issues, the teenage crisis, which we call. Nobody talked about on these issues. Nobody talked about the sexual orientation. Nobody talked about the biological and the physiological changes coming in your body. Nobody talked about the emotional changes are coming, and that's one of the reasons in the teenage you become a little bit more emotional because there's more energy and you don't know how to channelize it. You are the blessed one that you are living in an era where you have gotten access to a hell of information, and I'm sure that information going to be positive enough, and hopefully not the distorted information what I meant to be. You are getting the best schooling, you've got the shelters, you're getting the food. So the point is that now this is the time you have to reconnect, you have to relearn the new patterns of survival, the adaptation. And for the adaptation, it's just like you go to a new city, or you go to a new part of the new corner of the world, or you go to a, maybe your car crashes and you have to survive one night in a jungle, and then your creativity is at peak, your thought processes are at peak, that how to survive. This is the nature brings us at that point, that how you have to increase your stress threshold. This is called the stress threshold. People finally learned that how to, because we were not habitual and used to of wearing the mask, we were not habitual of the hand sanitization, we were not habitual of personal hygiene. And I guess this is one very positive benefit, is that finally people came to know the concept of the personal hygiene and the hygienic surroundings. Even the lower, the people who are not educated, or you see, they even a little bit, you see, became aware of these concepts. So the thing is, these are the natural learnings which come through nature, and we should be ready and mentally prepared to accept them and to respect them. First to accept them, then to respect them, that this is how. You might have seen the people, they say that we are very much habitual of shopping and going to malls and the dining out and all that. In all these months, we have come to basic life. We have come to the basic needs. That's nature tells us that what you need is the basic needs. And when it comes to the basic needs, you have to understand that the food for the soul is very much important. Food for your psychological well being. We always talk about self esteem, we always talk about subjective well being. Uh, I would like to tell one thing, that if you sow a seed, then you have to nourish it, then you have to wait for the fruit. Similarly, you have to nourish yourself internally. First of all, you need to put the seed of learning that yes, we are human beings. We are not angels. Don't be perfectionist. Give yourself space. Love yourself. Forgive yourself for your mistakes you have done in the past. Even the Adam, even the prophets, they did the mistakes. So we are human beings. So you have to accept and respect yourself in a way. And in this way, when you sow this seed, your self-esteem, you will start nourishing your inner. And then your self-esteem gradually it will raise. And when it will raise, let me be very simple in the words, especially for the students, for the young students who are very close to my heart. The students are always very close to my heart because they are the actually nation builders, and they are our extensions. When we will be no more in this world, they will be our extensions. So we have to nourish, and it's primarily the responsibility of the parents initially, and then the teachers, because the teachers have been given the respect of like a parent who nourishes. So the parents and the teachers, since I'm talking from the platform of a school, so both of them, they play a major role in building up the subjective well-being of a student, of a of youngsters, of the youth, because just the bookish knowledge and the parents, they, I'm sorry to say, do forgive me for saying these words, they spend more they spend more time on in giving the good clothes, good food, good schooling. I don't mind that. But the quality of time, I think this COVID situation gave you another concept of spending and rather tolerating each other more frequently, because we have not been habitual of having the holidays and the breakups and going out with the families and all that. We spent more time with the families. We started knowing and having more understanding of each other. That increased our stress threshold, and because gradually we were moving away from the social connections, from the family connections, which is more important. So this COVID situation tried to bring back to our social family ties, social our family connections again, which is very much important for the subjective well-being. The youngsters, they came to know finally that how much it is important to spend time with the family and with our own selves, first of all with our own selves, because we have been getting busy so much in our lives that we stop giving time to ourselves, and that's one of the reasons we have been ignoring and rejecting ourselves. We stop loving ourselves. We start comparing ourselves with others, that we don't have this thing or we need to have this thing. And all that stress builds up in your brain, and ultimately it is converted into depression when you think that you cannot handle the things. So that's the unnecessarily the stress you are giving to your internal machine, which when sometimes it cannot handle, it collapses. So these are the few basic factors. And now the last, since I've got a few minutes left over, I guess. So these are the positive outcomes which we learned as a result of the COVID situation. Now there are a few things more for the students and the parents. I know that you have got fears and the natural your concerns that when schools are open, getting open, and parents are really, I have heard that the parents are getting now sick of children, and they're so happy to listen the news. Oh, the schools are getting open and now we'll take rest of the school. What about the faculty and the school children, the school teachers? Now the parents have realized the importance of the teachers, that they spend half of their day with the children, with their studies, with their grooming, tolerating their tantrums, tolerating their, I won't say the misbehaviors, but obviously every kind of problems of the children, which you could not, being a parent, with due apology, handle it. And I have seen that, being an academician, that most of the time the parents put all the responsibility onto the teachers, that why he or she behaved like that, or why he or she didn't get the numbers, or why he or she start comparing. No, this is the best outcome. This is the best thing. Their parents have realized that every child has its own range and potential, and you cannot compare your one child with another. And they will start respecting the school teachers and the management, who spend more than half of their day to groom these children. So I would like to appreciate, first of all, the teachers in this regard. Now there is another aspect that I would like to appreciate the parents too, especially if I'm not getting gender biased, the females, especially the working females who've been working from home, who have been handling the children, who have been handling their parents, who have been handling the rest of the family needs. And even some of them, they really have got many nervous breakdown, because they were we are being blessed with the maids, but in the COVID situation the maids were not available. So I really say that it increased the stress threshold of everyone. And at the same time, I kept on saying in my talk shows that the spouses, the rest of the family members, each needs to learn of sharing of work. That's the best part. You cannot put all the responsibility and the stress on one person. So that's the reason that the most of the females, they had gone through a lot of stress, because they had been managed, especially if they are working, they had been managing the house, the working from home, then the kids and the family. So here there is a lesson for all the male members and the male the audience that you have to share. You have to understand the concept of the sharing to facilitate others, so that there should be there should be a sharing of load. And in this way, you cannot stress out. You will not stress out one person, because every person has got a certain capacity. So a big round of applause for the parents, especially for the mothers and the working mothers. Today I'm here to appreciate, because I myself have gone through all these challenges, the COVID challenges, and we survived it. That's the best part of that. And the last point which I would like to highlight is that no doubt the situation was unpredictable, and now still it is a little bit uncertain, because we the life of the children is very much important, cannot be taken at stake. And I would like the parents and the school systems to make sure the hygienic conditions of the schools. Also, it's the duty of the parents to mentally prepare that in a month's time, or maybe in a couple of months' time, when inshallah, with the will of God, with the will of Allah, we will come back to normal routine life. Still, we need to be hygienic. Still, how we have to manage when we are going out. So the thing is, gradually you need to bring a change in the life pattern, because initially from physical to they switch to the online classes, and maybe in some time I'm expecting and hoping that we will be switching back to the physical schooling. And again, it would be a little bit difficult for the children, especially the small children. So you have to gradually start from this day onwards, start um, educating and mentally preparing your kids for the physical schooling, and how to put the mask, how to do the hand sanitization, and all that, so that it becomes their habit. So this is all from my side. And Mozam, just take the questions if you have from your audience.
Can you hear me?
Yes, yes,
Yes.
now.
So thank you, Dr. Ambreen, for such a great session, such an informational session. So I've got a question that I've received in my inbox, and the question says that it's been 4 months. We are in partial or full quarantine. So could you please identify the effects on youths of of the nation and small infants, and how to deal with them? So could you please answer this question?
Yes, please. As I told you, that the situation was new for the whole world.
Hmm.
And again, yes, I do understand the sleeping patterns, the behavioral patterns. The children, they really got, especially the infants and the small toddlers, and the little children who are not school going, they become very cranky, because
Hmm.
at that time they are best of their energy. That's the
Hmm.
point. They've got a lot of energy, you see. And sometimes the children, the parents, they label they are very problematic. They're not problematic. They're just hyperactive. They are just have got full of energy and they want to play it. And the parents, they get cranky or don't create the mess and all that. And I've been
Yeah.
telling, that's the parenting style. We
Hmm.
need to change the parenting style. We need to channelize the energy of the kids. So I know the children, they are not going out, they are not playing in that way. And especially if the homes are very small and they don't have grounds to have the facility during this COVID. You see, we have to consider each situation. But the
Hmm.
children, they do become cranky. So at that time, the parents, they really need to be tolerant enough. Rather, they should indulge them into the productive activities. Even right now, I tell the
Hmm.
parents to start playing. I mean, the all the games, the little
Hmm.
sporty games with the children, so that their energy should be channelized in a productive way, and they should stop bothering you
Wonderful.
in other way. So that's, they need to learn. The parents need to relearn the parenting styles with the changing demands of the time.
Even I can relate this to my family. I have two daughters,
Yes.
and I can relate it because at times they feel uncomfortable, they feel depressed when they are at home. So I used to talk to them. I try to have a dialogue. I try to have a conversation with them, and then we negotiate. Okay, fine. So what if I take you out for a ride or a trip or something like this? So what will
Exactly.
we do is, I mean, in response to that. So I think we have to, yes, look after our parenting style. At the end, I would like to thank Dr. Ambreen Iqbal for taking time out for this program.
My
I
pleasure.
also would like to mention that this program is basically for the parent community, ISC Lahore community. This program will be uploaded on the Sabin's digital platform for the parents for further viewing, and at the same time, you can have it, I mean, viewed from the Facebook page. So it was a great session, wonderful session, and thank you so very much, Dr. Ambreen Iqbal. And there is a comment from one of the audience that she is thanking you and the admins of Choueifat for the
Thank you.
efforts. So that
Thank
shows that the time you have spared on a holiday has paid off. So we are looking forward to having more sessions from your side.
you. Inshallah.
Message for the audience to please take care of yourself, stay safe, and we'll see you next time for our next program. Allah Hafiz.
Take care. Love you all.